Hello, my friends. Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like you're doing everything right for your health, following all the advice you've heard for years, but you still feel tired, foggy, and just worried about the future? We all share the desire to stay healthy and strong, don't we? But what if I told you that some of that good advice you've been following so carefully might actually be undermining your strength? And worse, what if a habit you've been taught to avoid, one you might even feel a little guilty about, is actually one of the most powerful things you can do to protect your brain from dementia? The latest research is showing that some long-held beliefs are not just wrong, they can be silently damaging. My name is Dr. Evans, and after decades as a family physician, I've seen things change. I'm here to tell you that some of the most powerful ways to protect your health as you age are hiding in plain sight, often disguised as bad habits. I'm not just talking about theories from a book. I'm talking about real people. I'll never forget a patient of mine, a wonderful gentleman named Frank, 83 years old. His new doctor was about to put him on a whole list of medications, until the lab results came in. His blood pressure, his cognitive scores, his heart health, they were better than most men 20 years younger. The doctor was completely baffled. But I wasn't, because I knew Frank's 4 little secrets. In this video today, I'm going to walk you through those exact 4 habits. We'll look at the outdated advice that led so many of us astray. And I will give you the simple, science-backed truths to help you feel stronger, sharper, and more in control of your own health, starting this very week. And please, make sure you stay with me until the end. The 4th habit we'll discuss is the one that most people get completely wrong. And getting it right could be the single most important thing you do this year to prevent a serious injury and maintain your precious independence. Now, I want to be clear. Nothing I share today is just my opinion. It's all based on solid recent research from world-renowned institutions like Harvard Medical School, Johns Hopkins, and the Mayo Clinic. My job is simply to translate all that science into practical, common-sense advice for your real life. Before we dive in, I truly want to know how many of us share this feeling. If that sense of confusion I just described sounds familiar to you, if you've ever felt that way, please take a moment to comment a simple yes below. It helps me understand what you're going through, and more importantly, it shows others right here in our community that they are not alone. Okay, let's get started. Alright, let's begin with our very first habit. Habit number 1. The lazy habit of daily napping. First, let's talk about something many of us have felt guilty about at one time or another. Napping. For generations, we were taught that taking a nap in the middle of the day was something reserved for small children, or for when you were sick. It was seen as a sign of laziness, a lack of drive. I've had so many patients, good and hard-working people, confess to me almost with a sense of shame that they just can't fight the urge to close their eyes in the afternoon. They see it as a sign that they're getting old or losing their edge, and they fight it with everything they have, usually with another cup of coffee and sheer willpower. But what I'm about to tell you might change how you see that afternoon rest forever. That feeling of guilt. It's completely misplaced. In fact, giving in to that urge for a short rest might be one of the most intelligent, protective things you can do for your health. You see, that 2 p.m. slump you feel isn't a character flaw. It's a powerful and completely natural biological signal. It's part of what scientists call our circadian rhythm, which is basically the internal master clock that runs in our brain and regulates our cycles of sleepiness and alertness. For most adults, there is a natural dip in that alertness signal in the hours after lunch. When you choose to ignore that signal and power through, your body perceives it as a form of stress. It responds by releasing extra cortisol, which you may know as the stress hormone. A little cortisol is fine, but when your body is pumping it out every single afternoon just to stay awake, over the course of years and decades, that chronic stress takes a heavy toll. It's incredibly tough on your heart and your entire cardiovascular system. Now, here is why this becomes so critically important as we get older. The core reason is that our bodies simply don't bounce back from stress the way they did when we were 30 or 40. Our systems for repair and recovery need more time and more opportunities to do their work. That short period of rest in the afternoon isn't a luxury. It's essential maintenance time. Think of it like a pit stop in a long race. It allows your cardiovascular system to take a break, your blood pressure to lower, and those damaging stress hormones to recede. It's also crucial for your brain. During a nap, your brain gets to work consolidating memories, essentially filing away the important information from your morning so you can recall it later. It clears out the mental clutter. And the symptoms of ignoring this need for rest? They are so incredibly common. Do you ever experience that frustrating afternoon brain fog? That feeling where you can't quite think clearly, or you struggle to find the right word? Or perhaps you find yourself feeling unusually irritable and short-tempered with your family in the late afternoon and evenings. You might blame it on a dozen other things, but so often, it is a direct result of your body and brain being exhausted, crying out for the brief rest you've denied them. This isn't just a nice theory. We have powerful scientific proof to back it up. A major, long-term study out of Harvard University followed thousands of seniors, and what they found was stunning. The researchers discovered that those who regularly took a nap for 30 to 60 minutes had a 37% lower risk of dying from heart disease compared to those who never napped. Let that sink in. 37%. That is a more powerful effect than many medications. The science is clear. Napping protects your heart. But for me, the real proof is always in the people I've cared for. I remember a wonderful patient of mine, a woman named Carol from Charlotte. She was in her late 70s and was a force of nature. Always busy, always doing things for her children and grandchildren. She fought naps for years, telling me, "Napping is for old people, Doc." She saw it as giving up. But she suffered terribly from that afternoon fog and was often so drained by dinner time that she felt snappy with the grandkids she adored so much. It broke her heart. I finally convinced her to just try it, to see it as an experiment. After about 2 weeks, she came into my office, and her eyes were shining. She told me, "It was like a cloud lifted from my mind every afternoon. I have more energy for the grandkids in the evening than I've had in years. I became a better grandmother." She never felt guilty about her 45-minute nap again. So, here is the simple solution. This is your new prescription. Aim for a 30 to 60-minute nap, ideally between 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. That's the sweet spot that aligns with your body's natural dip without interfering with your nighttime sleep. Find a quiet, comfortable place to lie down, not just dozing in a chair in front of the television. Set an alarm so you don't oversleep and wake up groggy. And most importantly, give yourself permission to recharge. I urge you, try it for just 1 week. Don't see it as being lazy. See it as being smart about your long-term health, your heart, and your mind. If you believe in the power of this simple, restorative act, take a moment to type "restore" in the comments below. Habit number 2. Eating full-fat dairy. Alright, for our second habit, I want you to open your refrigerator door in your mind. For the last 30, maybe 40 years, we've been told a very specific story about what's healthy, and it has dramatically changed what we put in our shopping carts. We were told that fat was the enemy. Especially saturated fat, the kind found in foods we'd eaten for centuries, like butter, whole milk, and cheese. We were warned it would clog our arteries and lead directly to heart disease. And so, we dutifully filled our refrigerators with skim milk that looked like watery paint, fat-free yogurts, and plastic tubs of margarine. We thought we were doing the right thing, protecting our hearts and our health. But an enormous and growing body of research is now showing us that, for many of us, that advice may have been terribly wrong. We weren't getting healthier. In fact, we may have been trading a natural, satisfying food for a far more dangerous replacement. Here's the science of what happened. When food manufacturers took the natural fat out of products like yogurt, they were left with something that was thin, sour, and not very appealing. To make it taste good again, they replaced the fat with something else. Sugar. Lots and lots of sugar, often in the form of high fructose corn syrup or other processed sweeteners. This created a brand new and much more serious problem. Instead of the gentle, slow release of energy you get from fat, these low-fat, high-sugar products cause a rapid spike in your blood sugar. Your pancreas then has to work overtime, pumping out insulin to manage that sugar rush. Over time, this constant cycle of sugar spikes and insulin surges leads to insulin resistance, which is the direct pathway to type 2 diabetes. The natural, healthy fat found in dairy, however, does the exact opposite. It slows down digestion. It stabilizes your blood sugar, and it provides a long-lasting feeling of fullness and satisfaction. The The core reason this is so vital for us as we age is tied to both our metabolism and our nutritional needs. As our bodies get older, our ability to manage blood sugar effectively can decline. Preventing those sharp spikes becomes even more important for avoiding diabetes and maintaining steady energy levels. But there's another crucial piece to this puzzle. Your body absolutely needs fat to absorb certain essential, fat-soluble vitamins. The most important ones are vitamins A, D, E, and K. Vitamin D, in particular, is critical for our bone health, as it helps our body absorb calcium. When you drink skim milk, even if it's fortified with vitamin D, you're not getting the full nutritional benefit because the necessary fat required for absorption has been stripped away. You're literally pouring nutrition down the drain. Think about the common symptoms. Do you often find yourself feeling hungry again just an hour or so after eating a healthy, low-fat yogurt or a bowl of cereal with skim milk? That's your body sending you a clear signal. It's telling you that it didn't receive the genuine, satisfying nutrients it needs to feel full. That gnawing hunger often leads to snacking on processed, carbohydrate-heavy foods, which just continues that damaging cycle of blood sugar spikes. The scientific proof against the low-fat dogma is now overwhelming. A major long-term study from the Friedman School of Nutrition Science and Policy at Tufts University tracked over 3,000 adults for years. Their findings were a shock to the old way of thinking. They discovered that the participants who had higher levels of full-fat dairy in their diet had, on average, a 46% lower risk of developing diabetes than those with low levels of full-fat dairy. This isn't a minor difference. It's a massive, protective effect. The natural fat that we were taught to fear for decades was actually protecting our metabolic health all along. I think of a patient of mine, a gentleman named Robert from St. Louis. He was a devoted low-fat eater for 30 years, following his doctor's advice to the letter. But he struggled constantly with his energy levels and was always hungry. He was on the borderline of a diabetes diagnosis, and he was deeply frustrated. After we reviewed the new research, he decided to make a change. He switched back to whole milk, started eating full-fat Greek yogurt, and used real butter on his toast. Within a month, he came back to my office, and the change was remarkable. He told me, his voice full of relief, "My energy is stable through the whole day for the first time in 20 years. I'm not constantly thinking about my next snack." He felt liberated. The solution here is one of the easiest and most enjoyable you can make. It starts on your next trip to the grocery store. I want you to consciously replace every low-fat and non-fat dairy product in your cart with its full-fat version. Buy the whole milk instead of skim. Choose the rich, creamy full-fat yogurt instead of the fat-free version that's loaded with sugar to compensate for flavor. Buy a block of real cheese. And please, use real butter instead of margarine or those processed vegetable oil spreads. Stop fearing this wholesome, natural food. Enjoying full-fat dairy is one of the simplest and most delicious ways to protect your blood sugar, nourish your brain, and provide your body with the nutrients it has been desperately missing. If this information surprised you, if it challenges what you've been told for years, comment "Wow" below. Let's see how many of us were misled by that old advice. Habit number 3. Drinking coffee every day. Alright, let's talk about that beloved morning ritual for millions of us. That first, warm, wonderful cup of coffee. For years, coffee has had a complicated reputation. Many of my patients have told me over the years that they've tried to quit, or at least cut back, because a well-meaning friend, family member, or even a doctor from a bygone era told them it was bad for their heart, that it would make them jittery and anxious, or that it would lead to all sorts of health problems. The warnings were everywhere. But what if I told you that, according to a massive wave of modern medical research, that morning cup of coffee, and maybe even a few more throughout the day, is one of the most powerful protective habits you can have for your brain? The idea that coffee is a dangerous vice is simply outdated. The truth is, it's a health tonic in disguise. The science behind coffee's benefits is truly fascinating. A single cup of coffee is not just brown, caffeinated water. It's a complex beverage loaded with over 1,000 bioactive compounds. Many of these are powerful antioxidants. Think of antioxidants as little bodyguards for all the cells in your body, including your precious brain cells. They work to neutralize unstable molecules called free radicals, which cause cellular damage, a process known as oxidative stress. This oxidative stress is one of the primary drivers of the aging process and is heavily implicated in the development of neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. So, every cup of coffee you drink is delivering a fresh army of these protective compounds to defend your brain. Now, why is this especially crucial for us as we navigate our later years? The core reason is that the brain's natural defenses against this kind of damage weaken over time. At the same time, the risk of cognitive decline and dementia rises dramatically. Specifically, in the case of Alzheimer's disease, the brains of patients are characterized by the buildup of sticky, toxic protein plaques, primarily beta amyloid. The caffeine in coffee, along with other compounds, appears to help the brain clear out these toxic proteins. It's almost like it provides a daily cleaning service for your mind, helping to prevent that dangerous plaque from ever accumulating in the first place. The symptoms of early cognitive decline are one of the greatest fears for seniors. Forgetting names, misplacing your keys, struggling to follow a conversation. These are the moments that cause a flash of panic. It's a fear of losing one's memory, one's independence, one's very self. Instead of viewing coffee as something that makes you anxious, I want you to start thinking of it as a protective tool in your daily fight to stay sharp, focused, and mentally engaged. It's an act of defense for your future brain health. And the scientific proof is not just from one or two small studies. It is remarkably strong and consistent across multiple large-scale, long-term studies. One of the most extraordinary comes from researchers at Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health. After tracking thousands of older adults over decades, they found that those who drank 3 to 5 cups of coffee per day had up to a 65% lower risk of developing dementia and Alzheimer's disease compared to those who drank little or no coffee. 65%. That is a life-altering statistic. Beyond brain health, other major studies from institutions like Harvard have linked regular coffee consumption to a significantly lower risk of type 2 diabetes, Parkinson's disease, liver disease, and even certain types of cancer. The evidence is simply too powerful to ignore. I can't help but think of my neighbor, a wonderful woman named Barbara from Detroit. She's 79 and sharp as a tack. A few years ago, she told me she was worried because she'd seen some of her friends start to struggle with their memory. After reading about the cognitive benefits, she made a conscious decision to make coffee a firm part of her daily routine. She now drinks 4 cups every day. She swears it's the reason she still does the Sunday crossword puzzle in ink, remembers the birthdays of all 12 of her grandnieces and nephews, and can still beat her son at a game of chess. For her, it's not just a drink, it's her strategy for staying vibrant. So, here is your simple, evidence-based plan. The research points to a sweet spot of 3 to 5 cups of regular, caffeinated coffee spread throughout your day. It's generally a good idea to have your last cup by around 2 p.m. to make sure it doesn't interfere with your nighttime sleep, though your sensitivity may vary. And please, don't undo the benefits by loading it with sugar and sugary creamers. A little bit of whole milk or cream is perfectly fine. If you don't currently drink coffee, there's no need to jump to 5 cups tomorrow. Start with 1 cup a day and see how you feel, gradually increasing over a few weeks. So tomorrow morning, I want you to brew that pot of coffee with a new sense of confidence, knowing that you are doing something truly wonderful for the long-term health of your brain. If you are a proud coffee drinker, if that morning cup is one of your favorite moments of the day, let me know by commenting "coffee" below. Habit number 4. Not exercising every single day. Alright, this last habit is perhaps the most surprising of all. It goes against everything we hear from the fitness industry, and even from some health experts. We are constantly bombarded with the message that more is better. We see ads for gyms that are open 24 hours a day. We're told to push through the pain, and that rest days are for the weak or the uncommitted. Many of my most dedicated and health-conscious patients feel a deep sense of guilt if they miss a single day of exercise. They believe they are being disciplined and doing the absolute best thing for their bodies by working out 7 days a week. But what if I told you that this relentless approach, especially after the age of 65, could actually be harming your body rather than helping it? What if the secret to getting stronger, avoiding injury, and staying fit for the long haul isn't exercising more, but resting more? To understand this, we have to look at the basic science of how our bodies get stronger. When you exercise, whether you're lifting weights, going for a brisk walk, or working in the garden, you are actually creating stress on your body. You are causing tiny, microscopic tears in your muscle fibers. Now, this is a good thing. It's the necessary stimulus for growth. However, the actual process of strengthening and repairing does not happen during the exercise itself. It happens during the periods of rest that follow. It's during your recovery time that your body gets to work repairing those tiny tears, and in the process, it builds the muscle fibers back a little bit stronger and more resilient than they were before. This is the fundamental cycle of physical improvement. Stimulus, followed by recovery, followed by adaptation. Here is the crucial point for us as we get older. The recovery part of that cycle becomes infinitely more important. Our body's natural repair systems are not as rapid and efficient as they were when we were younger. They simply need more time to do their job properly. When you exercise every single day without allowing for complete rest days, you never give your body the chance to fully complete that repair cycle. You are constantly breaking down muscle tissue without ever giving it the time it needs to fully rebuild. This can keep your body in a state of chronic, low-grade inflammation. And that chronic inflammation is a major contributor to many of the issues we face as we age, from aching joints and arthritis to a weakened immune system and persistent fatigue. The symptoms of this pattern, which is known as overtraining, are incredibly common in seniors who are trying hard to stay fit. Do you feel constantly sore, not just the day after a workout, but almost all the time? Do you feel unusually tired or wiped out, even though you're getting enough sleep? Do you feel like you're putting in the effort at the gym or on your walks, but you're just not getting any stronger, or maybe you even feel a bit weaker? These are not signs of discipline. They are classic signs that your body is not recovering. You are in a state of breakdown, not buildup. The scientific evidence supporting the critical role of rest is unambiguous. Major studies from the prestigious Mayo Clinic, which tracked the exercise patterns of seniors, found something that would surprise many. They discovered that older adults who incorporated 2 to 3 complete rest days into their weekly routine actually maintained their muscle strength and bone density better than those who exercised every single day without adequate recovery. The rest wasn't making them weaker. It was the very thing that was allowing them to get stronger and avoid the burnout and injury that so often sideline daily exercisers. I had to have this very conversation with a patient of mine, a wonderful man named Richard from Omaha. He was 75 and fiercely determined to stay healthy. He believed the key was exercising 7 days a week, and he pushed himself through every workout, no matter how tired or sore he felt. He came to me complaining of constant knee pain and a deep fatigue he couldn't shake. A physical therapist finally convinced him to try a new schedule. Exercise one day, rest the next. He was so resistant at first, feeling like he was slacking off. But after just a few weeks, he came back to my office, and he was a different man. He told me, "Doc, it's a miracle. My chronic muscle soreness is gone, my knee feels better than it has in years, and my energy on my workout days is through the roof. I'm actually lifting more than I was before." He learned that rest wasn't the opposite of training. It was an essential part of it. So, here is your simple, powerful plan to get stronger by resting more. Schedule 4 to 5 days of structured exercise or activity per week. For the next 2 to 3 days, I want you to take complete rest days. This doesn't mean you have to be completely sedentary. Gentle activities like a leisurely walk, some light stretching, or pottering around the house or garden are perfectly fine. But you should avoid any vigorous or sustained exercise on these days. Listen to your body. If you feel unusually tired or unmotivated, take an extra rest day, regardless of your schedule. Stop feeling guilty about resting. I want you to start seeing those rest days on your calendar as strength-building days. Because that is when the magic of getting stronger truly happens. And so, we come full circle. Now you know the secrets of my 83-year-old patient, Frank. The man whose health baffled his new doctor. It wasn't some magic pill he ordered from a late-night infomercial, or a complicated, expensive regimen that took all his time and energy. It was so much simpler than that. It was the quiet wisdom of a daily afternoon nap, allowing his heart and mind to restore themselves. It was the deep nourishment of real, full-fat dairy and butter, the foods we were once told to fear. It was the daily, steadfast protection of his morning coffee, guarding his brain with every single cup. And it was the strength he built not just in the gym, but on his quiet days off, the days he gave his body the precious gift of rest. It really was that simple. If there is one single lesson to take away from our time together today, it is this. Your body now is not the same as it was when you were 30. And that is a beautiful thing. It has carried you through a lifetime of experiences. True health, true vitality in this season of life, comes from finally learning to work with your body, not against it. It's about listening to the quiet wisdom it offers you every single day, and backing up that wisdom with sound modern science. Not the outdated, disproven rules of the past. It's about giving your body what it truly needs to thrive. As we wrap up, we've explored 4 powerful, life-changing habits. But as your doctor and your friend, I know that knowledge is only powerful when we put it into action. So now, I have one important question for you. A question just for you. What is the one commitment you are making to yourself after watching this video today? It could be something very small. It could be, I will give myself permission to take a nap this week without feeling guilty. It could be, I promise to buy whole milk on my next trip to the store. Or maybe, I will simply enjoy my morning coffee with a new appreciation for all the good it's doing for me. Please, share your personal commitment in the comments below. It's so important. Reading your promise to yourself might just be the spark of inspiration that someone else needs to take that first, crucial step for their own health. Let's fill that space with encouragement for one another. And if you found real comfort, value, and inspiration in our time together today, your support means the world. A simple like on this video lets me know that this message truly resonated with you. To ensure you continue on this journey with us, and never miss another video full of this kind of life-changing wisdom, please hit that subscribe button. It's so much more than just subscribing. It's joining a warm community, a family of friends all dedicated to navigating these years with strength, wisdom, and grace together. And finally, please think of one person. One person in your life who needs to hear this message today. A spouse, a sibling, a dear friend. Sharing this video with them might be the greatest gift you give them this week. It might be the permission they've been waiting for to finally, truly take better care of themselves. Thank you for spending your valuable time with me today. Be well, be wise, and I look forward to seeing you again in our next video.